My wife, who had cheated on me, was very scared and asked for forgiveness. But she will face the consequences she deserves. I found out that my stepdaughter was cheating about 7 months ago. I went through a lot of heartache. I felt so sad and confused. I was really depressed for a long time. I never confronted her, but I was a mess. She must have known that I knew. But she didn't care. I guess, or at least I assume that. About 2 to 3 months ago, I was just done with it all. I was done with her, I was done with the marriage. I just didn't care anymore. I just stopped worrying about the relationship. I started getting ready for a divorce. I was starting a new life. I avoided my wife as much as possible. I stayed away from the house when she was there. I didn't talk to her. When she asked me a question, I would only answer yes. I would not answer with no, I don't know, or maybe. I even left the divorce lawyer's bills out in the open. She must have known I was checked out. I didn't talk to her much, and I only answered with yes, no, maybe, or I don't know. I even left the divorce lawyer's bills out where she could see them. She must have known I was getting a divorce. Even the kids asked me about it. Even they could see what was going on. I even did the speech about how much we both love you. It's not your fault. Sometimes adults can't be together anymore. My wife was actually in the room and must have heard me talk to the kids. She didn't say anything. I took her silence as consent. Anyway, a few days ago, I met a girl I used to know from school. I met her before I met my wife. We always had a bit of a problem with each other. We were attracted to each other. We would always flirt and be touchy. But we never actually did anything about it. Let's call her Monica. I think she looks like Monica Bellucci. Monica and her family moved away. But before I found the guts, actually. I regret not doing anything about it. I felt really bad about that for a long time. But I was young. I was shy and stupid. I haven't been thinking about Monica for a long time. Actually, I haven't seen her for years. But as soon as we met, I could feel the tension between us. It was even more intense than I remember. We were both very comfortable with each other and it was easy to talk. She even asked me out. I explained the situation to her with my STVXW. I told her I wanted to be officially separated before I started dating. I wasn't going to cheat. Monica respected that. She gave me her phone number. She told me to give her a call. I told her I would call her as soon as I was done with what I had to do. She told me that she never married. She was really excited to get to know me again. I was even more excited. This encounter made me decide to finally talk to my wife. It made me want to officially separate and divorce my wife. I was really happy. When I went home and sat down waiting for my wife, I was grinning like a lunatic when I asked her to sit down. I told her that we had to talk. I told her I'd known about her cheating. I knew she was cheating on me for a long time. I told her I thought she knew I knew. I told her I had known for a long time that she was cheating on me. I told her I had thought that she knew. I checked out of our relationship for the last few months. 3 months or so. She didn't seem to mind that I no longer care. So, I told her I want to start dating and get on with my life. I finished by saying, all things considered, it's time for us to get divorced. What do you think? I was surprised by her reaction. She started crying, and not just a little bit. It was as if she was a desperate person, and it was very loud. I've never heard anything like it. She was making excuses. I was surprised by how emotional she was. She was asking for another chance. She said that the affair didn't mean anything. We could sort things out with some counseling. I was a bit shocked. I thought she would be happy. I told her she could be with this guy without feeling bad. It seems like he is more important to her than her family. If he wasn't, why would she choose him in the first place? She must have known this would destroy us. She can't be that stupid. Can she? I asked her if she thought we needed to fix our family or our marriage. The time to do that would have been 7 months ago. Before she had the affair. Now it's too late. It's broken beyond repair. I didn't think we had any problems in our marriage. She didn't talk to me, and I can't read minds. So I had no way of fixing it. Since she started having an affair with the other guy, she must have thought something was wrong or missing. Something that was so wrong that it couldn't be solved by talking to me. She must have felt that something was wrong. She was happy with me, with having our children. She must have grown up in a broken home. If not, why do it? I clearly uncommonly explained that there is no way for her to. You've been with this guy for the last 7 months. And there is no way to undo the pain and suffering she caused me. The pain she caused me. This made me realize that I had to take action. I'm basically indifferent. I kind of hate her. I'm just being honest. I'm just being civil for the sake of being. I want to be able to co-parent our children in the future. I told her I didn't think she ever cared about me. No person who cared about someone would behave like that. If someone really cared, they wouldn't cause their partner such pain. They would not betray them in such a way that she had done. Saying she loves me doesn't mean anything. She has no credibility. Because her actions prove that she is not telling the truth. She became completely incoherent at this point. I couldn't understand any of what she was saying. It was all a jumbled mess. In the end, I had to call her sister. I didn't want to look after her myself. Her sister arrived. I explained what was going on. She took her away. I felt so much better when they left. I could finally breathe for the first time in 7 months. I don't know what I'm looking for here. She must have known this was going to happen. She must have wanted it. She can't be that stupid. That she thinks this behavior is okay. These choices she made. She must have known that her actions and decisions would lead to something other than divorce and a broken family. She is beautiful. She is intelligent too. Our marriage was great until she started her affair. I have accepted that life changes. I have accepted it and I have moved on. Now she pretends to love me. She says she wants us to stay married and have a family. But I can't understand why she's pretending to create such a big drama. At this point, what does she hope to gain? I mean, she couldn't possibly. Could she expect us to try to make things better now? It must be a trick. I just can't figure out what it is. I have proof that she's been unfaithful. I live in a European country. This would mean she wouldn't have to pay any maintenance. Could that be the reason? Is she afraid I will expose her? Could that be the reason? She wants me to feel sorry for her, so she doesn't tell people about what she did. Also, her AP is married. So maybe she is scared I will tell her husband. I just can't get my head around it. Anyway, I just had to get this off my mind. I was hoping it would make more sense written down. But no. I'm just as confused now as when I started this rant. Update. My unfaithful partner is very confusing. So first of all, thank you to everyone. It's been really overwhelming. I haven't had a chance to answer everyone. But I have read everything. I posted 3 days after the conversation with I had hardly slept after my conversation with my ex-wife. In fact, I fell asleep reading messages on my computer. When I woke up the next day, I had a clear mind and a keyboard pattern on my face. I decided to make some lists. I listed the pros and cons of the main points. I put a bunch of papers on the wall. I wrote a headline on each of them. Our kids how to behave when meeting the wife. My marriage, Monica. I wrote questions to ask my wife, and other things to consider. I'm not going to write the final document here because it is too long. So I'll just cover some of the main points. My goal was to work out the most important beliefs I wanted to put in place. And what are the most important ones? I wanted to work out what the most important things were that I wanted to focus on. Then I went through. I then thought about each of these and asked myself whether I would be able to do them. Would I actually be able to achieve any of them? Would it be meaningful? And what would be a meaningful result? If I did manage to get anywhere. The most important thing for me is the kids. I will try even harder to help them deal with this. I will arrange more individual and family counseling. I will arrange trips and spend more quality time with them. We will spend more time together and make new memories. I will also involve the rest of the family. I will shower them with love and support to help them through this. I will also talk to their teachers. I will also talk to their coaches and other support people. The support system is immediate and everywhere. I have also found out that I have an STI. I took a test and I've also booked DNA testing of the kids. I'm worried that they might not be mine. It makes me feel uncomfortable. But I have to make sure for their sake. If they're not mine, maybe there is some medical history they need to know. What if they want to get in touch with the real father? When they get older, how will they see me if I don't act now to make sure? Hopefully they are mine. I'll be stressed until I get confirmation. One way or the other. I'll have to talk to their therapists first. They have joined us. We explain everything carefully. We let them ask as many questions as they want. I repeated everything over and over again. I repeated everything over and over again. I told them they could always come to me with anything. I am their dad. I love them more than anything and I will always be there for them. They can always talk to me about anything. As for my marriage, I realized that I can't trust my wife again. Trust is a basic requirement for any relationship. I also came to the conclusion that I can never trust my wife again. I don't love my wife. I don't love the person she has become. My love for her used to be a very big part of me. But she made me lose that love by having an affair. It has completely changed how I see her. Maybe I could learn to love her again. But to do that, I would have to want it. But to be honest, I don't want to. It would be better to end it and move on with our lives. I don't want this marriage. I don't want to be with her or to be in this relationship. The part of me that loved her. I used to feel endless joy. I don't want to feel happy or joyful ever again. When I think about her. But now, whenever I think about her, I feel dread and I remember the pain. Any thought of her makes me feel very unhappy. I feel very uncomfortable when I think about her. At the moment, I think divorce is unavoidable. I want to get it done as soon as possible. As for Monica, I've spoken to her a lot. I had some concerns. I based these on the feedback I received on Reddit. Maybe it wasn't such a good idea to get into a new relationship. I also didn't want to bring her into my mess. And let's be honest, my life is a mess right now. My life is a mess right now. She disagreed. She said, life is messy. We could deal with it together. While we were dating, I found out why she never got married. She was actually engaged. But her fiancé died suddenly at work. She was engaged, but her fiancé died in an accident almost 5 years ago. This devastated her. She had even gone on a few dates since then, but she was still not able to get over her fiancé's death. But she hasn't been able to connect with anyone. From her perspective, life is short. She believes that you have to take risks when a true connection presents itself. She says that she doesn't want to get involved with anyone, but when a real opportunity comes along, she can't resist. I told her I didn't want to get involved with anyone. I want to wait until the divorce is final. I don't want to cheat while I'm still married. She agrees and respects that. I also talked about how people might think badly of us if we suddenly start a relationship, where something that shows our relationship is over for everyone to see. People might say that she was the one who started the relationship, and that she was responsible for the breakup. I don't want that. She agreed. We'll wait a little bit after it's official. We'll wait until we do anything. I feel very attracted to Monica. This phone call is a borderline emotional affair. I think it's like an emotional affair. So I won't contact her again. I'll wait until my legal separation is final. We agreed that I would sort out my affairs. I also said that I would contact her when I was ready. We would then decide what to do next. When it came to planning the meeting with my wife, I wrote down some principles on who I want to be. I would make every effort to be the kind of man she wanted me to be. I would try to be the man I wanted to be when I met my wife. The man I used to be. Before all this, I used to be a different person. I decided I needed to stay calm. I would try not to be cruel. I would keep in mind. I knew that the reason for this conversation was to move on with our life. The point of this conversation was to move on with our lives. The aim was to be able to co-parent well. I would try to be kind and remember that the point of this chat was to move forward and be the best parents we can for our kids. But I still prepared a list of questions to try to understand her thinking about having an affair. I also wanted to know what she was thinking about moving forward and what her reasons were for having an affair. I was not going to be deceitful. I wasn't going to give her false hope that there was a chance to get back together. I just wanted to get a postnup or some kind of agreement before the divorce. I decided to be fair. I will divide all assets equally between us. We will have joint custody. This is even though she has behaved very badly towards me. I won't look up to her as a role model. I will act so I can be proud of my actions today, tomorrow, and in 20 years' time. I hate her for what she did to me. What she did to us, to our children. But I have fond memories of the good times we had. The good times we had together while it lasted. I also love our children. Our children that we created and raised together. I will try to remember her in a positive way. I will try to move on from the fact that she was unfaithful. I will not feel hatred towards her. I will tease her at some point in the future. I need to forgive her so I can move on. But I can't forget the cheating. I think we had a very good marriage. We had sex every day. We spent a lot of quality time together. We hardly ever argued. We were both happy to make sacrifices for each other. I was very honest with her. But then I found out she was cheating on me. I think she was honest with me too. But now her actions show that this is not true. On Saturday, I went to see. Her sister had warned me. She was not well. She was right. My stepdaughter looked really bad. She had bloodshot eyes and a swollen face. Her hair was unkempt. She looked much thinner than I remember. She looked like she had collapsed into herself. I doubt she has slept or eaten much this week. We all sat down. My wife was shaking almost uncontrollably. I felt surprisingly calm. I felt for her obvious pain, but not as a loving spouse. I felt for her pain like I would feel for an. I felt for her the way I would feel for an actor in a movie. I don't know how to explain the feeling really. It made me realize that I probably don't love her anymore. I just sat there and waited for her. To get her to speak again. She tried to start talking several times, but she kept crying and couldn't. It was obvious to me that she was really upset. I've seen her cry many times before, but never like this. I guess people can fake crying. But I doubt anyone can fake the look of crying non-stop for a week. She looks like she's being tortured, and she's got a really bad case of hiccups. Not bubbles when she finally started talking. It was as if a dam had burst. She apologized every other word. Surprisingly, she didn't try to. She didn't try to excuse herself or blame me. Her sister also cried. She would also sometimes scold her. It also became clear that her sister had warned her this would happen. Apparently. It's how her sister lost her fiancé a year ago. I didn't know that. Her sister was unfaithful. My wife had a midlife crisis because of her sister's infidelity. She started to think about cheating a lot. In the end, it seemed she did this because she was attracted to him. She had a crush on the guy and couldn't help herself. She never thought I would find out. Or that anyone would get hurt. It was a selfish thing for her to do. She was apparently very happy in our marriage. She told herself that she deserved this short romance. And that I probably supported her. I had no idea how happy she was at the time. She thought the affair would end soon. She thought that we would all get through it together. Back to living a happy family life. But she didn't know that I had found out. She only found out when I started to investigate. When she found out, she started to question whether it was really over. What was going on? I found out she'd broken up with the AP about a month and a half ago. They had started to lose interest in each other. She gave me her phone to check, and she had blocked him. When I unblocked him, messages from when they were still together. Then, over the next 1.5 months, I received a lot of messages from him. She wanted us to get back together. But I hadn't shown any interest in getting back together. I didn't want to get back together with her. But then I sat her down and we had a chat. She was sure that we could get back together. A way back. Together, we would become stronger. When she looked into my eyes when I confronted her, she understood that this was probably the end of the relationship. The reality of the situation hit her hard. I tried asking her some questions, mostly about what was going on in her mind. She understood that this was probably the end of the line. I asked her some questions, mainly about why she thought she had the right to do this to us. To our children. The truth is, she's just selfish. I realize, as many of you have said, I will never get the answers that I'm looking for. Because they don't exist. There is no acceptable reason for cheating. So I'll never get an answer I can accept. But I did. But I did get closure, in a weird way. I got to explain to her how much she had hurt me. The incredible pain she had caused me. I got her to admit that it was her fault. That our marriage is broken. I also told her that our children will grow up in a broken home. This made me feel peaceful. She had been reading everything she could about how to fix a broken marriage after cheating. She had a timeline and a detailed confession. She had signed the document and everything else was ready for me to sign as well. I haven't read it. I just gave it to my lawyer. She kept on asking for a second chance. She promised she'd do anything she said. I told her I didn't believe her. In fact, I didn't believe anything she said. I don't trust her. She asked me what she could do to fix things. I told her she had broken it. If she doesn't know how, so she should have thought of a solution herself. I asked her if she would be able to fix it herself. What would she say? If anything, these. We talked about this for a while. In the end, she agreed that if the situation had been the opposite, she would not have forgiven me either. She probably wouldn't have forgiven this either. I told her I had caught a sexually transmitted infection test and that I would get a DNA test for the kids. She was shocked. She started crying and was very upset when she heard this. She insisted that this was the only time she had ever. She said she had never cheated or done anything wrong. After some more discussion, she admitted that she had cheated on me. She admitted that I had no reason to believe her. And if she was in my shoes, she said that she would probably do the same thing if she were in my position. I asked her if AP's wife knew. She didn't know. She agreed that she deserved to know. I asked her if she should tell her or if I should. She asked me if I would consider trying to make things work again. Or marriage counseling. If she told her. I told her no. I told her that it would help, but I didn't say that I would do it. This would help her regain a little bit of respect in my eyes. She promised to tell the AP's wife and everybody else. She would also tell human resources and confess everything. I told her I didn't believe her. She promised that she would never be with anyone else. Else she would never be with anyone. Never give up on getting back with me. She even said that she would never give up trying to get back together with me, no matter how long it took. I didn't believe her, but I didn't say anything. It was getting boring at this point. She offered me an open marriage, but it would only be one-sided. She said I could see all of her messages and calls. She also wanted me to be available 24/7. I told her that I had spoken to Monica. I told her I'm waiting because I don't want to cheat. I don't want to be in an open relationship. It would hurt her if we did that. I don't want to hurt other people like she hurt me. I don't want to be her jailer either. I don't want to snoop around on her all the time and be suspicious. This is not healthy for a relationship. I don't want to be close to her. I need to feel close to her, and that's not possible if we're not on the same page emotionally. I don't see the point in having sex just for the sake of it. If I want a mechanical release, I can sort that out myself. I don't need a partner for that. By this point, we were all exhausted. We had been going out for over 5 hours. My wife had been too. She was crying on a scale from bad to absolutely horrifying. She was crying almost the entire time. We weren't going to get any further. It was over. I told her very clearly. I told her very clearly that the love I used to have for her had died. I didn't recognize the person she had become. Our family had been destroyed by her. And that I would go through with the divorce. I told her she couldn't take back what she had done. The only way to avoid this was to not get a divorce. The only way to avoid this would have been to not start the affair. I didn't want our marriage back 7 months ago. I didn't want her back. I just didn't want any more pain. I suggested we go our separate ways. I said we should not talk to each other for a while so that we could both get some distance. This would help me to see things more clearly. I told her I had already filed and that I had made my mind up. We could start family therapy to co-parent. But I don't even want to see her. This was very hard to say to her. She was crying and saying, no, no, no. No, please, no, please, no. When I got up to leave, she then had a massive, almost explosive, nosebleed. She started to reach for me, but she passed out. I caught her before she hit the floor. I drove her and her sister to the hospital. I drove her and her sister to the hospital and stayed there until I knew she was going to be okay. Last night and today, STBXW has been telling everyone what she has done. The AP's wife called me this morning. She wanted to know if what my wife had told her was true. I told her that I had sent her copies of some of the evidence. I just learned she kicked her husband out. She wants to meet and look at more of the evidence. She has been suspecting for a long time. But I haven't found anything solid yet. I suggested we meet for dinner tomorrow. She said she needed to talk. She also asked if we could talk on the phone. I don't know if I can do that right now. I told her I'd call her later. I admit I feel like a piece of S*******. I haven't been able to sleep. I'm not as strong as I used to be. I know I must stay strong, but it's very hard. Why do I feel so guilty? Why do I feel like I have to fix this? We may be able to convince ourselves for a while, but in the end, we will have to face the truth. But this won't work long term. Some of her friends and relatives have been calling me up and they're angry with me. They think I should give her another chance. But I don't think it's worth it. It would be better to just get it over with. If we can start to heal and build new lives, that would be better. So that's it. Nothing special. There's no sense of getting even, no resolution, and no peace. There will be no happy ending, just more pain for all of us. My mind is in a very dark place right now. I don't know what to do, to be honest.